You don't have a money problem. You've tried it all, haven't you? You've downloaded the budget apps, you've made the spreadsheets, you listened to every guru who told you to cut your credit cards and swear off lattes. Now, I probably told you some of the same things. You do all the right things, but that knot of anxiety in your stomach just won't go away. That feeling of always being one step behind and never quite having enough, it's always there. You're doing all the right things, but getting all the wrong results. And you're left wondering, what am I doing wrong? Well, you've been trying to fix your wallet instead of your heart. See, you've been told your financial problems can be fixed with a better budget or a smarter spreadsheet, but the gurus gave you a map for your wallet and no one gave you a map for your heart. What if the real reason that you're stuck has nothing to do with your bank account and everything to do with what's inside you? What if the debt, the anxiety, and the constant feeling of not enough are just symptoms of a much deeper spiritual problem? Well, in this video, we're not touching a spreadsheet. We're going to look in the mirror and uncover the real reason you're struggling with money and how to finally start healing from the inside out. See, budgets don't fix this. It's the head issue. It's not just math. See, for years, you've been sold one simple story. Financial problems are math problems. If you're in debt, you're spending too much. If you have no savings, you're not earning enough. So the solutions always sound practical. Earn more, spend less, track every penny. And I do teach you that. But today we got to go deeper. Yeah. And look, those practical steps are an important piece of the puzzle, but they're not the whole puzzle. For so many of us, they're like putting a small band-aid on a deep wound. Sure, it might stop the bleeding for a minute, but it does absolutely nothing to heal the actual injury underneath. See, spreadsheets can't heal you. The truth is, your money problems probably aren't about money at all. They're self-esteem problems. They're trauma recovery problems. They're scarcity mindset problems. That constant worry about bills, the shame that you feel about debt, and the fear of not making ends meet, it creates a state of chronic stress that messes with your mental and your physical health. See, financial stress is a vicious cycle. The stress makes it harder to think clearly about money, which leads to more money problems, which leads to more stress. So if you've tried the practical solutions and they just don't or haven't worked yet, it's not because you're a failure. It's because you've been trying to solve a heart problem with a head solution. You solved the math, not the problem. This isn't a money equation. So your money mirrors your heart. See, the Bible tells us in Matthew, the 6th chapter and the 21st verse, that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Now, this one verse, it cuts right to the core, right? It skips over all of the platitudes, the things that we want to make sound good. Our relationship with money is a direct reflection of what's going on the inside of us. That's right. See, your bank statement is often a more honest spiritual thermometer than anything you might say on a Sunday morning. Because we're like, I'm blessed and highly favored, but your bank account doesn't show it. So what's the heart problem? Let's just get to the chase. It's a tangled web of emotional and spiritual issues that's rooted deep in your past. See, all this started before your paycheck. That's right. First, there's the money trauma. Now, this isn't just about a huge crisis like bankruptcy. Money trauma comes from, it can be handed down through generations. See, this didn't start with you. You inherited this problem or this pattern. If you grew up in a house where money was a source of fighting and stress, Your present financial panic is often just a ghost from your financial past. These experiences create unconscious patterns that cause you to self-sabotage. So you might finally save some money only to feel a compulsive urge to spend it because deep down, your nervous system is wired to believe that money is going to disappear anyway. So you're reacting, not managing. I'm going to uncover some biblically based money facts, so stay tuned, all right? But that's that first layer. This leads to the next layer, which is a scarcity mindset. This is deeper than that, all right? This is the deep-seated belief that there is simply not enough. Not enough money, not enough opportunity, or not enough for you. And this mindset, it can be an echo of your ancestors' survival instincts, dwelling in the cave, hunting for food daily, always having to do. You can even look at the children of Israel where God had manna coming from heaven. And he says, okay, on the Sabbath, you're not going to uh, gather it on the Sabbath. You're going to gather 2 days before and have 2 days worth, but it's going to spoil every single day. That's that surviving, not thriving. And you can't build a life of abundance with a mindset of lack. Even if you're surrounded by opportunity, your brain gets stuck in survival mode, causing you to hoard, to overwork, or to make impulsive choices out of primal fear. You're thinking in survival mode. There's more, but you don't believe it. Now, I'm going to deal with a kingdom versus a worldly mindset too in this video. So stay tuned for that as well. But finally, the third one is this issue of self-worth. So many of us, without realizing it, tie our value as a person directly to our financial status. What's your credit score? How much do you have in the bank? How much do you make? But here's the hard truth. You will never build a net worth that is higher than your self-worth. See, low self-worth can lead you to undercharge for your work. Come here, queenpreneurs. Avoid asking for a raise if you're working for someone else, or subconsciously believe that you don't deserve wealth, so you give it away. The financial struggle that follows just reinforces that feeling of worthlessness, and the cycle continues. Because honestly, you earn what you believe you deserve. Your income follows your identity. So let me stop here for a moment and say, God wants you to prosper. Now, I did some videos earlier on, and that was the intro. Not somebody else down the street. He wants you to prosper. 3 John 2 says, Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. That's your mind, your will, and your emotions. You've got to learn it, but he wants you to prosper. Now, prosperity isn't just wealth and riches, but it's also a good journey. It's also health. It's also peace. All right. John 10:10 says that Jesus came to give us an abundant life. He said, the thief comes but to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Ephesians 2:10 tells us that we are his workmanship. Oh, yes, we are God's workmanship, and we are supposed to do good. The things that he has planned for us is for us to do and to be. And I'm getting a little bit excited, and I want you to as well. See, some of us even believe that money is inherently evil. The Bible says, for the love of money is evil. Not money is evil. And I recognize that this came from religious programming that makes you feel guilty for wanting to prosper, right? For creating, it end up creating a spiritual block to abundance. You feel guilty for wanting more. You've been taught prosperity is wrong. And then we've had those that went way on the other side and the charlatans, and that makes my blood boil. But let's deal with it today. See, what I want to do is I'm going to go from my book on financial wisdom for financial freedom, and I want to give you some biblical truths. So let me give you this. Now, it is in the book, and I'm going to put the links below. The Bible tells us that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. That's Proverbs, the 13th chapter and the 22nd verse. So don't plan to spend it all. It says a good steward, you should pay, as a good steward, you should pay workers. That's Deuteronomy, the 24th chapter, the 10th through the 17th verse. You pay them without hesitation. Co-signing leads to trouble. Now you can find that in Proverbs chapter number 11, verse 15, chapter 17, verse 18, 22, verse 26, and chapter 6, verses 1 through 5. So beware and don't do it. Co-signing is written in the Bible. Debt should be paid or repaid, I should say. The 37th Psalm, verse 21 says, the wicked borrow and do not pay again. But Leviticus 19 and 23, Exodus 22 and 14, all of them talk about you repaying your debt. Therefore, make a plan and have the mindset to pay for what you purchase. You bought it, you enjoyed it, pay for it. Ideally, you should owe no one. Deuteronomy, the 15th chapter and the 6th verse, the 28th chapter and the 12th verse, and then Proverbs, the 22nd chapter, the 7th verse, and Romans, the 13th chapter and the 8th verse is, owe no man but to love him. So ideally, we owe no one, therefore make a plan to be debt-free. Now, there is some good debt, but we're not going to go into that right now. I want you to plan that it's not going to be there for you. Another truth, money can be corrupted. Items do rot and they do decay. James, the 5th chapter and the 2nd verse identifies this. So therefore, beware. Money can be hurtful. That's Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, the 13th through the 14th verses. It can be enslaving. That's Proverbs 22 and 7. And it can be unsatisfying. That's Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, the 10th verse, as well as the 4th chapter and the 8th verse. So don't allow it to put you in bondage. Money can make you lazy. Did you know that? Luke, the 12th chapter and the 13th verse. So you need to be mindful. Money is also choking. Matthew, the 13th chapter and the 22nd verse, as well as Luke, the 8th chapter and the 14th verse. So don't give it first place. It can choke it. It will steal those things most important to you. Yeah, as a caveat, how many people have gone to work just to make more money and lose the relationships at home or miss out on the first steps and the first of your children because you were seeking after money instead? Let me just finish. Money can be deceitful. It is deceitful. Matthew, the 13th chapter and the 22nd verse. So don't trust in money. Money is fleeting. Proverbs, the 23rd chapter and the 5th verse, as well as in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, 16th through the 17th verses. It shouldn't be counted on, but used wisely. Now, money is temporary. That's Proverbs, the 27th chapter and the 24th verse. It's also uncertain. That's 1 Timothy, the 6th chapter and the 17th verse. And it is perishable. That's Jeremiah, the 48th chapter and the 36th verse. So make wise investments today. Money's temporary, it's uncertain, and it's perishable. The love of money is destructive. The love of money is destructive. 1 Timothy, the 6th chapter and the 10th verse, and Proverbs, the 15th chapter and the 27th verse. So love God and use money. You are blessed to be a blessing. That's what it tells us in Genesis, the 12th chapter and the 2nd verse. So don't keep it all for yourself. You are blessed to be a blessing. And I know we talk about the rich young ruler in Matthew, the 19th chapter, the 16th through the 25th verse, and Mark, the 10th chapter, the 17th through the 25th verse. When he came to Jesus, he thought that he had done everything necessary to get into heaven. And when Jesus told him to sell everything that he had, the Bible declares that he went away sad because he had great possessions. And Jesus said it is hard for a rich man to get into heaven. And a closer examination shows that what prevented him, it was the trust in riches. Not the riches itself, but his trust was in riches. So money is useful. And God, as our abundant supplier, giving us all sufficiency, wants to bless us. But our trust should remain in Him and not in the money or the material gain. Now, that was from my Financial Wisdom for Financial Freedom book. You can get it on ebook. You can get the book. I just want to make sure that I gave you this information. So we dealt with the biblical truths. Now, from my book, Destined to Prosper, I talked about the mindset, that scarcity mindset. I want to go there for a moment. And Destined to Prosper, I absolutely love this. It's going to talk about your biblical financial personalities, but I want to talk about mindset for a moment. So allow me an opportunity to read this one to you. There is a difference between a kingdom mindset and a worldly mindset. So let me say this. Your mindset is your belief system or your paradigm in which you make decisions. It's the internalized messages that drive your behavior. It's the way you approach earning, saving, and giving. See, your money mindset is the beliefs that you have that are revealed in how you interact with money and people. Simplistically speaking, you can have either a scarcity mindset or an abundance mindset. It is an abundant, expansive universe versus a fierce competition or scarce resources. So either you have a lot or you have very little. You try to hold on. See, God designed you to prosper and to walk in a rich inheritance. Jesus died for you to enjoy your life to the full till it overflows. That's John 10:10 again, but that's amplified. It talks about until it overflows, the abundant life. Abundant thought should be your norm, yet limiting beliefs invade. These are shaped from familial relationships and environmental structures. And can we correct the thoughts that limit our potential? Absolutely, we can. Yes. We are charged to renew our minds. Romans, the 12th chapter and the second verse, it says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed, metamorpho, by the renewing of your mind. Metamorphosis, make a change. See, your thoughts, when lined with biblical wisdom, manifest the promises of God. So past experiences and environmental influences affect your thoughts and form your beliefs. It was our upbringing and those we associate with that shape much about our beliefs, which then result in our behavior. And behaviors become habits. We do because of what we believe, and that goes back to what we think. So some of our thoughts need to be tweaked to create a secure financial future. So there is a difference between a worldly attitude toward money and the kingdom's principles. It's important to understand what the world and its system is influencing our thoughts, the way that it's doing that, and it's shaping our financial decisions. So if you want to grow to maximize your financial portfolio, you need to replace the thoughts of the world with those of the kingdom. So let's talk about a worldly mindset. And I use the acronym in the book for worldly, WORLDY. Let me say that one again, WORLDLY, worldly. That's right. See, a worldly mindset has you worried. It talks about lack. It talks about poverty, limitation, financial insecurity, and uncertainty. It's a broke mindset. If you hear phrases like there's never enough, or money doesn't grow on trees, or I can't afford it, those are all worldly, and that's limiting. It includes the scarcity mindset, which is one that operates as if there's a limitation on resources. Comments like money doesn't grow on trees and we can't afford that teach this poverty mindset. This shows up in the I won't have it available in the future kind of thoughts, which operate from fear. One result of this fear is hoarding. Yeah, holding on to money with a tight fist because there's a limited supply is the behavior demonstrated by worldly thinking. The entitlement mentality is also one. It's a function also in this world. It's the attitude that something is owed just because of birth. It's not based on what you earned or sacrifices that are made to receive. It's a give me, handheld out attitude. There's a touch of selfishness with an arrogant expectation. Then there's this selfish attitude that is one that is prevalent from birth, requiring others to focus on your needs. See, a child is unable to care for themselves. So the constant need and high maintenance are understandable. But as one comes of age, growth begins looking outward. The selfish mind demonstrates no concern for others, but only an internal focus on self. The show off behavior wants to appear as if all financial decisions have been perfect. And none of us have been perfect. Yeah, none of us. It's one of looking the part and not necessarily living the part. The comparisons and the keeping up with the Joneses actions that has one making bad decisions from comparison. It's the one that says, look at me, I want attention and acceptance. Then there's that desperate mindset. That's one that scrambles for everything. It's the whatever it takes, I'm going to survive by any means necessary kind of thought, because there is a limited supply, right? So this behavior also views obtaining as a competition, and taking it from you declares them the winner. Then there's that know-it-all personality, that one that believes they've learned it all before. This is that unteachable spirit that won't grow because they remain a legend in their own mind. And then finally, there's the I deserve it kind of thought process that has moved many into great debt. I deserve it. The mindset of you only live once leads to I might as well enjoy life. It's a life. It's a I live for today and not focus on the future behavior that leads to wasteful living that results in a lack of abundance. So all of these mindsets move individuals to scarcity because the focus is inward. It's hoarding, it's entitled, it's selfish, it's attention seeking, it's desperate, it's ignorant, and it's wasteful. So if I look back at the worldly mindset, the W is I won't have it in the future. That's the fear and the hoarder. It's the O is the oh me. That's the entitlement. The R is remember my needs. That's the selfishness. It's the L, look at me. That's the show off, keeping up with the Joneses. It's the D, the desperate, whatever it takes. It's the L, the learned it before I know it all. And then it's the Y, the YOLO. You only live once, that wasteful type of mindset. But then the kingdom mindset is different. And yes, I use the acronym for kingdom as well. So let me tell you what it is. The K is the king is the one on the throne, and the king will return. That's a stewardship mindset. It's I is the invest wisely and not squander. The N is I'm not covetous, but I'm content. The G is I'm outlandishly generous. The D is I'm debt free or striving to be. The O is I'm on point, exactly right where it comes to living and to giving. And M is my all belongs to God, my time, my talent, and my treasure. See, the kingdom mindset is one of rich, secure, resourceful, generous, and financially abundant. It's appreciative. It's confidence in your ability to make and to receive money. It's the internal messages that says there is always enough. It's only money. We can always make more. We have everything that we need. I've got good money, as my mom used to say. There's always more where that came from. It's a focus on what you can afford, and it's a focus on what you can afford and enjoy the fruit of your labor. See, God calls us to have a kingdom mindset, which is one of prosperity and abundance. And the mindset, backed by scripture, encourages stewardship, investing, contentment, generosity, debt-free living, and attention to detail and gratefulness. Everything for the kingdom mindset is other-centered. because we say Christ will return and one should manage well what was entrusted to him. That's Matthew, the 25th chapter, the 14th through the 30th verse. We should investment should bring increase, and this is rewarded. Matthew, the 25th chapter, the 14th through the 30th verse. We should being content with what God has provided includes an attitude of gratitude. Philippians, the 4th chapter, the 10th through the 13th verse. 1 Timothy, the 6th chapter and the 6th verse, and Hebrews, the 13th chapter and the 5th verse. Generosity is a characteristic of our Heavenly Father, and we should show the same spirit. 1 Timothy, the 6th chapter and the 18th verse. 2 Corinthians, the 9th chapter, the 6th verse and the 11th verse. Deuteronomy, the 15th chapter, the 10th verse. Psalm, the 37th Psalm, verse 21. The 112th Psalm, verse 5, and Proverbs, the 11th chapter, verse 25, and the 22nd chapter, verse 9. It says debt-free living, owing no one but to love him, Romans, the 13th chapter and the 8th verse, as well as the 37th Psalm and the 21st verse. We're on point with living and giving, doing it God's way. That's Proverbs, the 16th chapter and the 3rd verse, and the 37th Psalm, verses 5 and 6. It also has recognition that everything belongs to God. So speak or seek him and trust he will provide. Yeah, Matthew, the 6th chapter and the 33rd verse, the 24th Psalm, verse 1, and Genesis, the 15th chapter, verse 1. See, the kingdom mindset shows a dependence and a trust in the promise of God. If God is the provider, Jehovah Jireh, then there is an abundance, since the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. That's the 24th Psalm, verse 1. When it comes to our attitude and ultimately our money mindset, as believers, we should strive to eliminate worldly thoughts that cling to us and walk into a rich inheritance. Now, I told you that one was from Destined to Prosper. And if that's where you are today, I want you to go ahead and get that. But you're probably asking the question, how do I know all of these things? Well, one, from teaching theology for 20 plus years, and I probably should have led with that. But I also use a Bible software called Logos, and they're having specials. I'll make sure I put all the links in the description so that you can go check that out as well. But I taught from Logos. It made it very easy to find all of what I needed as far as scripture was concerned for searching and everything else. But let me say this: healing changes your finances. So I want you to shift. So if spreadsheets and budgets aren't the whole answer, then what is? The turning point comes when you stop staring at your finances and start looking into your heart. It's the profound realization that real, lasting financial peace is an inside-out job. Peace starts before profit. Fix the root, not the result. See, the solution isn't about better financial planning. It's about deep spiritual and emotional healing. I want you to sit with that awareness and all the truths that I've already told you. But I want to give you a little bit more. In the Bible, there are some miracle provision reminders, and I want to stir up your faith even more if I haven't already. Allow me. This one's from my book, Not Just Paper, which is actually the textbook that we used in biblical finance. And I want to give you those, or say into your hearing, miracle provision reminders. All right. In 1 Kings, the 17th chapter, we have the account of Elijah when he left Gilead and went to the brook of Cherith and was fed by ravens. You probably remember that from your Sunday school lessons. If not, read 1 Kings chapter number 17. See, a dirty bird fed him quail on toast in the morning and quail on toast in the evening. Elijah declared there would not be any rain and the brook was drying up. So Elijah was sent to the widow after God had miraculously provided through a bird, right? The widow, this is the widow at Zarephath. The widow acknowledged that she had only a little for the last meal for her son and for herself before they would die. And the prophet requested a cake for himself first. Because she did what was asked, she never ran out of oil. The meal never ran out. See, the prophet Elisha had some of the same miraculous events occur. Twice as many miracles are recorded because he asked for a double portion. That was from 2 Kings, the second chapter, and the 9th verse. There was a widow that came to Elisha also with an oil issue. The debtors were coming to collect after her husband had died. That's 2 Kings, the 4th chapter, the 1st through the 7th verse. And she kept pouring oil until the vessels ran out. He said, borrow not just a few. Miraculous events still occur today when we believe. Meditating on what was done in the past will build our faith for our current situation. So consider these events. Jesus, as he was on the water, said, cast your nets, plural. And they limited themselves based on what they cast. That's Luke, the 5th chapter, the 1st through the 7th verse. He said, have faith for the great haul. All is possible with God. My God shall supply all your needs and exceed them. That's Philippians, the 4th chapter and the 19th verse. Whatever you gave up, God returns 100-fold. You need to have enough pots. You need to have enough nets. You need to have enough vessels to take in this great haul. Get ready for the haul. Stop thinking small-minded. God is able to do exceeding abundantly above everything we could hope, ask, or think. And he says it's according to the power that works on the inside. That's Ephesians, the 3rd chapter and the 20th verse. So think that way. The wealth of the sinner is laid up for you. Proverbs 13 chapter verse 22. So go receive it. You have not because you ask not. James, the 4th chapter and the 2nd verse. And when you ask in faith, believing that he is going to be a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. That's Hebrews, the 11th chapter and the 6th verse. See, Jesus did die that we might live this abundant life in John 10:10 that he proclaims. So ask for it. God's word gives the promise of prospering and being in good health, even as our soul prospers. That's 3 John 2. Claim it now. He will even make sure you have enough taxes. Matthew, the 17th chapter, the 24th through the 27th verses. So believe it. The promises of God include the fact that at his right hand are pleasures evermore. Whew. That's the 16th Psalm, verse 11. So remain in his presence and seek his face, because you want all that God has for you on this side of heaven. This side that no good thing will he withhold. That's the 84th Psalm, verse 11. Since he isn't withholding from us, you shouldn't withhold any good thing from him, and the blessings will continue. We have a responsibility to be good stewards over all that he has given us. So let's walk in it. Your breakthrough starts with it. Now, I had so much more that I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to have to stop here. So in the next video, I'll delve into the faithfulness. But for now, realize that your past could be hindering you. The company you keep as well as your thoughts. Your past is spending your money. Honestly, you need to break up with broke. Now, that is an online course that I have. Stop dating broke. Stop thinking broke. Stop living with broke. God did not create you for that. That is not who you are. You are a king's kid. You are a royal priesthood. You are a holy nation. You're supposed to show forth the praises of him that has called you out of darkness and into his marvelous light. See, for years, you've been treating the symptoms. Today is your invitation to heal the source. Your financial struggle isn't the sign of your failure. It's a sign that there's a deeper work to be done in your heart. The journey starts with one step. Which will yours be? Is it purchasing a book? Is it taking an online course? Is it watching another video or even listening to my crown adjusting affirmations around this particular subject? The links are going to be in the description, but I want you to comment your action step. Let this be the beginning of a fresh start on the journey to more abundance. And the last day, the remaining scarcity thoughts hold you back. I'm Dr. Shantae Haynes. Among other things, I've been called the biblical money management expert, helping you put feet to your faith so that you can walk victoriously. Have a blessed and prosperous rest of your day. God bless.